Arnaud Desplechin often films in Roubaix, a small town in the north of France. He even shot an entire film there, inside his own family home.
Cette maison appartient à mon mari. Il en a hérité le jour de notre mariage.
Non, arrête. Non, c'est ta mère qui vient me draguer pendant que je te parle.
Nos enfants n'habitent plus avec nous maintenant. Ils viennent parfois en vacances et...
A Christmas Tale, starring Catherine Deneuve.
Je n'avais jamais entendu parler.
It also turned out to be perhaps his biggest box office success. The Christmas fairy tale atmosphere had to be manufactured, because there was very little snow that year. Most of his other films are known primarily to a niche audience, like Cannes regulars and film school students. His father insisted that all four of his children read Marcel Proust In Search of Lost Time, a novel about memory. But Arnaud had no desire to read it. To this day, he still holds that literature is for serious people, and cinema for kids. And filmmaking was exactly what he wanted to do.
My father he was not in universities or whatever, he just did, he started to work very young, you know, but he was a salesman, as I was saying to you, you know, so he was sleeping in a hotel each evening, you know, all over France, you know, visiting people to sell things, you know, meds, etc. And so in these days you didn't have cell phones and there was no TVs in the hotel, you know, and so that's how my father, he started young. You know, but my father read all the books on earth, you know, because he had nothing to do. You know, at 7 you are in your hotel room and you're reading. You know, so he read everything. And so we had a ritual in our family. So when we were 16, we were supposed to start La Recherche du Temps Perdu. Okay. So my siblings, you know, did you know, to be loved by their father. You know, they started to do the thing. But I was so superstitious, you know, because I wanted to make films. Since I was 8, and my father was saying, you will never do it, you will never do it, you will never do it. So I said, my life is committed to popular arts, so I refused to enter into literature, so I was reading detective stories or, you know, stuff like that. So no, I won't read Proust, never, because if I'm reading it, I will finish as a teacher in Roubaix. You know, so I don't want to do that. And so after that I cheated, because when I arrived in Roubaix, in Paris, you know, I bought the Deleuze about Proust to know what there was in the book, you know, so I read the Deleuze. And after that I read the other book, you know, the Barthes, you know, about Deleuze, etc. So I read books about Proust, but not the book of Proust, you know, it was forbidden, you know. Finally, I cheated and I read it, you know. Very late in my life, Proust, you know, Proust is for adults, films are for kids, so let's forget about that. You know, but it's a line that I was quoting about in Spectator, about a film director who has been very important in my life, was Claude Lanzmann, the director of Shoah, and there was this philosopher who wrote about that, the fact that can you save something when time is dissolving everything? You know, how can you save something, some memories? How can you inhabit your own memories? How can you make them present and not from the past? How the past is occupying our heart, you know? And so that a work of art as Shoah that you can see as a documentary piece is not at all that. It's a monument of philosophy and literature, and it's a building to reconstruct the past and to give you back your past. You know, the past that has been stolen by the crime. You know, and you can inhabit your world because of a piece of art, which is a piece of art, which is Shoah, which is, you know, so that was, and so I'm very confused and I'm not explaining it well, but this philosopher put it in one line, so I quote that line in Spectator and I did the job.
The plots in his films are easy to forget, or if you do remember them, they're rather chaotic, somewhat like his own memories.
It's tricky. It's a tricky one.
I think it's the Schwarzenegger film, was it, or Tom Cruise film? I don't know.
No, it was on the Bruce Willis film. Yeah. How come on, we are speaking about Bruce Willis? I mean, let's be serious.
Joking.
Yeah. Thanks. No, what's his name? I would like to, because we are in Munich, you know. I remember this this opera that I saw on YouTube, and it was the Nozze di Figaro, and it was because I was supposed to work on a production. I declined because I know nothing about the opera. So to learn about opera, I was looking at all the different, and there was a wonderful production of the Nozze di Figaro by this Austrian stage director. I forgot his name right now, shame on me. And it was perfect because each gesture of each singer was absolutely pure, you know, as if you are looking at a Bob Wilson production, or, you know, each gesture is so precise and neat, etc. And what I loved in Bruce Willis is that, you know, you have this moment which is so poetic, you know, because he's outside of the building, you know, hanging to a rope, and he will crash against the window, and he will be killed, and the building is in fire, you know. And so he just think, and he's sweating and bleeding, you know, and he's taking his gun, and as soon as the rope is projecting him against the window, he's firing on and he breaks the, etc. And it's so pure, you know, it's beautiful that way, you know. I've been too long about that, you know, but I would jump to another. Do you know that each time that Hitchcock was doing the, let's say, the silly films, the entertaining films, you know, that he was doing, each time that he was visiting France and meeting Truffaut, he was asking to Truffaut, do you know what Cocteau is doing? No, that was his obsession, you know, because he thought that his films were the same ones than Cocteau, you know, one being a poet and the other one being an entertainer. And that's what I love in films, the fact that there is no scale value. You know, each time I was lucky enough to meet Quentin Tarantino, he was asking me, you know, do you know what Claude Lanzmann is doing? Is he making a new one? We say, yeah, The Last of the Unjust. Oh, great, you know. And each time I knew Claude Lanzmann quite well, you know, he was a friend. He was saying, do you know which next film will do Tarantino? It's strange, you know. He was saying, I remember Lanzmann saying to me, you know, you saw that Tarantino was the DP of one of his of one of his films. I think it was the film with the cars. Yeah, and say, Arnaud, you and I will have to go in Los Angeles to learn from that man. You know, Tarantino is the best. You know, it's so strange. No scale value, you know. The most humble film is equal to the most noble film, you know. The scale value is for literature or theater, but in films, you have genius everywhere.
How you reached what you got from Marion Cotillard and from Charlotte Gainsbourg?
Ça fait 20 ans, ma chérie. Ne sois pas jalouse d'un fantôme.
Vous êtes Sylvia, la compagne d'Ismaël? Oui, je suis sa femme. Carlotta.
How you reached what you got from Marion Cotillard and from Charlotte Gainsbourg?
I just could say two things, you know. It's first, you know, these days I'm rehearsing, tomorrow Monday, you know, I'm rehearsing for a theater play, so we have the cast who are reading the lines, etc., etc. You know, on Les Fantômes d'Ismaël, I worked with each actor, but just him or her and me, just reading the lines. So that way they know something about the film that the other ones ignore. They have, you know, and they know, and they have the responsibility of that truth that they own. You see what I mean? Yes. We are reading the lines. Okay, I remember the reading with Charlotte. It was so moving, you know, and so when we were discussing about issues, about my companion, about life, about the secret of it, you know, which is the disabled brother that she would mention at the very end of the movie, which is the nature about her shyness, the shyness of her character, etc., etc. And so she's in charge of something, and so which gives her a strength in front of, you know, because they are rival with, you know, with Marion, but she knows something that Marion ignores. Yeah. But when I work with Marion, we are reading the lines, I'm breaking the lines, I'm inviting them to change them, I'm changing them in front of them and saying, oh, this one sucks. We could find something. We are working really on the lines. And so Marion arrives with a knowledge about the film that Charlotte ignored. You know, and that's how we you know, that there is the idea that in cinema you have a sort of a secret, and that, you know, will I tell you that story? Yeah, France. No, it's something, because I'm thinking about, you know, I was sharing that story recently with Nadia Tereskevich, you know, and, you know, it's the definition of a writer by Stevenson, which is, you know, I was not reading Proust, I was reading Stevenson, you know, and so Stevenson in an essay is writing about what is to be a writer, and he's remembering when he was in Scotland, when they were kids, during the winter, they were wearing big coats or caps, and they were hiding a lamp, you know, when they were 9 or 12 or 11, you know, and they were saying, do you have it? I have it, the lamp, hidden, you know, under the coat. And so when you write a book, you have to have a lamp hidden, and people can't see the lights, but you know that you have the light, you know, behind your large coat, you know. And I think that's why you can compare a writer to an actor. An actor has to have this secret, and you know that it's precious, you know, and so each one of them in a film, each one of the cast knows that he has it, but he doesn't know exactly how it looks for the other one, you know. So they all have this little secret to share, you know, with the audience in a very mysterious way.
C'est moi.
Oui,
Ça fait combien de temps?
21 ans, 8 mois et 6 jours.